Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of targeting civilians over the new year, with Moscow reporting a deadly strike on a hotel in territory it occupies in southern Ukraine, while Kyiv says there had been another broad attack on its power supplies. The reports coincide with intensive talks overseen by US President Donald Trump and aimed at bringing an end to the nearly 4-year-old war. Each country has said the other is doing all it can to influence his views and shape the outcomes. And for more on this, we are now joined by International Relations Analyst David Matsanga. And he joins us now via our video link. And perhaps, David, thank you so much for your time this evening. Perhaps let's start off here. Overall, what do you make of this war? That is the war between Ukraine and Russia, which is now entering its 4th year.
First of all, thank you very much for again hosting me. This is the second time, and we always talk about conflicts. But thank you very much. Let me come back to this conflict of Russia and Ukraine. Already, each side is trying to gain ground such that when the final peace agreement that President Trump is trying to hammer out comes, you have a ground. The Russians have said they will take the land where they have already occupied east of Ukraine. Ukraine says it will not seize any, it will not accept to leave, to give land to any of the Russians. So that the stalemate is between the question of territory and the question of who has more to lose and who has more to gain. In this case, I think Ukraine will actually find itself with Trump's attitude. He will have to take it, and Ukraine will lose some of the territory, and Russia will gain some already, which it has in its own side.
And Mr. Matsanga, I mean, you speak of US President Donald Trump. I mean, he's tried to hold a number of peace talks between these two sides. There have been a number of interventions, even the likes of South Africa at the beginning of this war. They tried to reach out to both sides to try and find common ground. And I mean, you speak of this issue of territory. Why does it seem as if these interventions are being made are seemingly not enough?
Not enough, because the problem is bigger than that. The problem of Europe, of when we did not take the agreement, the first agreement where we said the red line stops, is where the European Union and the European countries want to push that red line beyond. They want to have NATO coming closer to the borders. You remember the Minsk agreement, which was very clear, which stated that where we have got the borders, this is where NATO will stop. But NATO seems to be encouraging some states that are bordering Russia to take NATO status, to get European Union status, which is again antagonizing the communist state of Russia. Therefore, that is one of the reasons why these agreements will collapse. That's one of the reasons why Trump will not be able. You notice that Trump took a different direction right from the European Union. They are not happy, but Trump has said, no, if you are going to talk about what you have occupied and what you need to get back, you might not get it back. You saw the way he actually humiliated Mr. Zelensky when he's at the White House. So the Europeans have a different view of how they should tackle the Russians, and Trump has a different view. So therefore, this thing might end up the way the Israel and the Gaza situation ended, a frozen conflict. That in conflict resolution we call it a frozen conflict, a conflict without any end, without any meaningful agreement.
But what will it take for both sides then to find each other so that we don't see this war prolonged and, you know, a stop to the lives being lost at the center of this all?
It's a Cold War that has come back, my sister. The Cold War has come back, basically that. If you can see how our countries are voting in the United Nations Security Council and how countries are voting in the United Nations General Assembly. And you can see the way, if you support Ukraine, Russia hates you. If you support Russia, America hates you. It's pure. South Africa is being targeted for having stood firm and said this conflict must end. And they are on the side and saying, well, why don't we end this conflict? And then it was targeted. You saw when President Ramaphosa entered this Middle East crisis, he has been put on target, on warning list, on alert that we shall do this, we shall do this. So it is simply a Cold War that has come back quietly through proxies. The politics of proxies applying in the Ukrainian war. The West just wants to dismantle Russia. The West wants Russia gone. But Russia is still a superpower. It came back, it fought from the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It came back and became strong. So it could spark quite a lot of difficulties, even China involved, North Korea involved, and most of the countries in Africa, some of them that support Russia openly, will be affected. So simply, it's a Cold War.
All right, Mr. Matsanga, thank you so much for your analysis. That's International Relations Analyst there, David Matsanga, just giving us an overview when it comes to this 4-year, now entering 4 years, this war between Ukraine and Russia, seemingly they're saying that the likelihood of it ending is not any time soon.